Hey guys, welcome back to the Cool Classic Kid Show, and today we're talking about Mortal Kombat, and overall this is a discussion about the state of Mortal Kombat and censorship, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but YouTube is very censorship heavy and getting worse and worse as time goes on. A recent update to just what they're allowing on YouTube early this year, they've really cracked down on violence heavily to the point where some games are almost unplayable on YouTube, which is a shame. It really is sad to see that we are going backwards instead of moving forward. And this very much will affect Mortal Kombat 1. It is, to the point where streaming Mortal Kombat or making Mortal Kombat 1 content is probably going to be difficult. And I understand this general sentiment and the issue that NRS faces. But instead of actually speaking out against this censorship issue that YouTube, Google is pushing on us, my problem with particularly this interview that Ed Boon does with IGN is that he's just willing to conform. And to me, Mortal Kombat doesn't feel like Mortal Kombat anymore, particularly because it is trying to appeal so much to the mainstream audience that it has lost its identity. I felt that with Mortal Kombat 11. There's a lot of issues I have with Mortal Kombat 11, from garbage story to retconning characters to changing characters' looks for the worse, to browbeating longtime fans about women's clothing. Yeah, NRS did that. It's hilarious. NRS, basically making the game back in the day, having women in skimpy clothing, them being badass femme fatales. Modern NRS regrets all that and chose to browbeat their audience about outfits they chose to make in the past, only to make those outfits DLC. Imagine how that works. It's amazing. It's amazing how insane NRS has become as a company. But to get into this particular interview and discussion, we take it over to IGN. And they were interviewing Ed Boon, obviously creator of Mortal Kombat. And they say, IGN asks, I know that violence is intrinsically tied to Mortal Kombat, but with how important influencers, content creators, and streamers have become in video games and how difficult it's become to monetize Mortal Kombat content, does that give you any thought about any kind of streamer-safe mode that kind of cuts around or limits blood and gore? And oh man, just that the thought of that being a thing is insane to me. And Ed Boon says, yeah, it does. The dilemma, I don't know if I can call it dilemma, but the thing is that I think about is, let's say we had a mode that turned off all the blood or something, or didn't have fatalities or something like that. Part of the definition of Mortal Kombat is those things. And so to strip away an entire layer of it, do we really want that to be the main representation of what is of the game online? It's not the whole representation. Now, granted, to me, it's not like, okay, so that's a deal breaker. We're never going to do it. I'm always trying to think of what can we do to keep the spirit of the game, of what the game is, but also allow streamers, because I'm fully aware of streamers, to show the game and make the content based on the game. I think that's the dilemma. And this is where I have a dilemma. Now, to me, NRS has caved on a lot of stuff in the past, even going so far as to, like I said, chastise their community for things that they chose to do in the past, and going back on what makes Mortal Kombat Mortal Kombat. He has said here he is open to taking out fatalities and blood, gore, all that. Now, he's hesitant on it because he understands how important that is to Mortal Kombat. I mean, even games in the past have done this, and guess what? People have rejected it. The SNES version of the original Mortal Kombat was the garbage version of Mortal Kombat, despite, and the reason being, no blood. They just traded it with sweat. And despite the SNES version having better visuals and animations, people still chose the Sega Genesis version because it had an optional blood. It had optional blood. But, and if you, and someone, oh my God, oh, Twitter, man, someone actually used the original SNES version in a conversation, acting like that supported their opinion on what I had said. But you know what? Let's get into what I had said. Because right here, I said, willing to do anything and everything to be ultra mainstream, including forsaking the very thing that makes Mortal Kombat Mortal Kombat. This is why I have been written off this franchise. MK1 is just a shell of its franchise. Ed Boon is an effing sellout cuck, and I do stand by that. And people have, you know, literally listed things such as the SNES version of Mortal Kombat, or the abomination that was Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. Oh man, I was alive for that one. I wasn't alive in 92. Matter of fact, I was born the year afterwards. But you are a loser. You have lost the plot if you actually choose to emulate the SNES version of Mortal Kombat over the arcade version. Yes, you are a loser if you actually do choose to do that. Why would you do that? There's zero reason as to why you would do something like that. And why would you go and play freaking Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe over like Mortal Kombat 9? Why would you do that? The fact that these were listed as like, well, they've done this in the past. And guess what? Everyone dumps on these versions, okay? Because that is not Mortal Kombat. Not at all. If you're afraid to do fatalities on, you know, DC characters and you tone the game down, guess what? People didn't like that. They rejected it. And I reject this sentiment now. Instead of, now look, if you implemented a streamer mode while also chastising YouTube and Google for, you know, tightening up on violence, you know, video games and just making things more difficult, then I could at least see that. Oh yeah, you're clearly fighting the power while also providing, you know, us streamers, YouTubers, whatever, this option that makes it, that allots us the ability to actually play the game without being hit with these things. So it essentially hit our channels with fatalities, right? I could at least see that. But no, you're just a conformist, Ed Boon. This is my problem. And while he said like he's considering it and not actually doing it, I think that the problem with YouTube specifically, you know, the thing that all of us YouTubers have a problem with is that YouTube doesn't give you a flat out answer of like, you know, a down the line answer of what is acceptable and what is not. All the rules are as vague as possible, so at any point someone don't like you over at YouTube, they clap that ass real quick. That's the goal, to at any point just get rid of you if they don't like you, or to make your life hell if they don't like you or one particular thing you said. It's no down the line, this is okay and this is not, period. Like, no, everything is hazy. So they can create a streamer version that doesn't necessarily mean that YouTube will adhere to it at every point. And imagine if they cut out the blood, gore, and actually edit fatalities, or get rid of the fatalities altogether. Because in the SNES version of the OG Mortal Kombat, they actually changed fatalities, some of them in that game, just to adhere to the censorship. Oh man, imagine spending time on editing fatalities to make them less crazy. Instead of, you know, actually making the women in the game not look horrendously ugly. Yes, I'm crying at what they did to Sindel. Not only does she look absolutely atrocious, not only does her outfit look absolutely atrocious, but damn, her animations look terrible too. When you're actually fighting. Oof, damn. Yeah. They find a way to destroy my girl, Sindel, every chance that they get nowadays. I was mad about MK11 Sindel because they retconned the hell out of her. Now they've just decided to make everything else about her garbage. At least the MK11 version of Sindel looked very beautiful. She actually kind of, Sindel to me back in the day, what drew me to her is that she looked like Lily Munster back when I had, you know, MK3. That was the main reason why I really liked her character. I was a big Bruce Lee fangirl, still am to this day. So Liu Kang was obviously my main, but I would play Sindel and even Sonya. Sindel particularly because she looked like Lily Munster. I loved watching the Munsters with my family as a kid. So that was like, and to me to have her in Mortal Kombat 11 look a lot like Lily Munster, that was cool. But too bad they retconned the character so terribly so that she was just a cookie cutter villain instead of the awesome depthful character that she was in the past. But I digress. Overall, if Ed Boon goes this far to cut out violence and blood just because to adhere to YouTube's BS rules without criticizing YouTube, without fighting this overreach of power and it really doesn't help the streamers. Yes, maybe for now with the game because it benefits Mortal Kombat and it benefits NRS to enable this streamer mode, but in the long run this doesn't help us because you know what? Another Doom is going to come out. Another insanely violent video game is going to come out. And guess what? You're going to get clapped for that shit too. So in the long run, this doesn't help anybody. It just kicks the can down the road. Why can't we go back to like 90s liberalism where you fought against this censorship? You know, like I don't understand what's changed. Because like, you know, modern day liberalism is all about that censorship. And I don't understand why that is. And that's, I don't know, man. It's just depressing to see this 180 occur. I don't know, man. But yeah, guys, I just think that if they go this far, everything about Mortal Kombat is now a shell of its former self. And people are saying, well, it's just an option. And it's like, you don't, like, the fact that you are willing to forsaken the most integral part to Mortal Kombat, so much so, the original Mortal Kombat was not a depthful fighting game. Not as depthful as in comparison to Street Fighter at the time. What drew people to Mortal Kombat was that violence, was that blood, was that gore, was those fatalities. That is the drawing factor of the franchise. And for it to be forsaken now, specifically to adhere to censorship, just falling in line, that really is the biggest hit to this franchise by far because it ruins the artistic integrity of this franchise of video games. Censorship is killing the artistic nature of Mortal Kombat. That is the problem. So I hope that Ed Boon does not adhere to this. I hope that Ed Boon will fight against this intrusion of censorship because things are getting worse, guys, and it's sad that staples of you know, violent video games, they're willing to cave and go this far, and sadly Mortal Kombat is just a shell of its former self. And if they remove blood, fatalities for streamer only mode, that would be the most viewed version of the game on YouTube, man. This is why you must support alternatives. Look, follow me on Kick. Kick is a great alternative because they don't care about violent video games and how violent is too violent. That's the great thing about Kick. So please follow me, Cult Classic Cage, on Kick. We are on the road, closing in on 200 followers. So that's where you could watch the true Mortal Kombat, guys, if they actually implement the censorship. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this. If you can, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me over on Twitter or Kick if you'd like to continue the conversation. And guys, with all being said, I'm out. Peace.